Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. We are just about to get started. So I'll give everyone a couple minutes just to find your seats, and we'll get going in just a minute. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the May LitLive. Thank you all for coming. Yay for the May LitLive. It's very cool to see almost every seat full in the house. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. My name is Anuja Varghese. I'm a Hamilton-based author and happy to be your host this evening. We want to thank the Staircase Theatre for having us, and of course to all of you for coming out. Just a little bit of housekeeping off the top. We run on a pay-what-you-can basis. All your support helps us to keep LitLive going. We also typically get funding from the Ontario Arts Council to run this thing and to pay authors to come and participate. We are not a registered charity. We're a grassroots arts collective, entirely volunteer run for the past 30 years. We're the longest running reading series in Hamilton. Yeah. So, as some of you may have already seen on social media, we unfortunately did not receive our OAC funding for next season. So, we are running a little fundraising campaign at the moment to make sure we have enough money in the bank to continue to pay authors to come to Hamilton and keep LitLive going. So you may see on your tables that we have a little QR code. If you are able to contribute to our little fundraiser, you can scan that. You can also donate directly to do that. We just launched this thing, I believe, on May 1st, and we are already halfway to our goal of $7,000. So I don't know. I mean, that's incredible. Thank you so much to everyone who has already supported the campaign so far. We are very hopeful that we will be able to keep LitLive alive. Thank you very much. There are also just some great perks if you do contribute to the fundraiser, but mostly you will have our love and appreciation, and you will continue to have LitLive in Hamilton. Okay, I would like to remind everyone of our LitLive Safer Spaces policy. LitLive strives to be a safe and welcoming space for people of all gender identities, abilities, ages, cultures, and sexualities. With that in mind, discriminatory language or behavior of any kind, in person or online, has no place at our event. We ask all of you to help us uphold those values here tonight. Okay, we have 4 amazing authors lined up for you. I'm going to open with our land acknowledgement, and then I will introduce our first reader. LitLive's home is in Hamilton, Ontario, on the ancestral lands of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee people in the territory covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, the city of Hamilton is home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we recognize our responsibility to learn about the rich history of this land so that we can better understand our roles as settlers, neighbors, and caretakers. Okay, our first reader tonight is Jess Taylor. Jess Taylor is the Toronto based author of the short story collections Pauls and Just Pervs. She has been a finalist for a Lambda Literary Award, longlisted for the Journey Prize, and had work included in the Journey Prize anthology. Her debut novel is called Play. It was released last month from Book Hug Press. CBC Books, the Toronto Star, and the Hamilton Review of Books all have it on their list of must-read books for spring. Play has been called a unique blend of contemporary storytelling and psychological fiction that reminds us of both the beauty and the danger of our own imagination. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you so much, Anuja, and thanks everyone for being here and for having me here at LitLive. A little adjustment, just a tad. Thank you. Um, yeah, so please donate to that fundraising campaign because LitLive has been a supporter of my writing for so long and so many people's writing, and it's one of the must go to reading series. I would say just like in Ontario in general, never mind Hamilton. So please do that. And if you donate, like talk to me if you're buying one of my books and I'll cut you like an extra deal. I have some major deals, but if you show me that you donated, you get like an even extra deal. So yeah. Yeah, so this is my book Play. It came out actually, so Nujo said last month, but it was actually a week and a half ago because, it was April, a week and a half ago. So it was last month, but yeah. And I'm going to read from the beginning, just a couple of short chapters. And just to let you know, as part of that safe spaces policy that Anuja said, my book Play, it does deal with some pretty heavy trauma. I'm going to make sure that the passage I'm reading shouldn't be triggering for anyone, but I know that these things can pop up when you least expect them. So please do know that if you feel like even just like illusions and that kind of thing might trigger you, I just wanted to let you know. Okay. The only secrets Adrian likes are the ones that we have together. He's cutting sticks from trees, and I'm here to do whatever he needs. My hands are hidden in gloves so that he doesn't know my knuckles are torn up again. A secret. Okay, I'm going to hold the sticks steady, and you're going to wrap them. I nod. The sticks are taller than either of us. I'm already almost as tall as Adrian, who has always been skinny and small for his age. I'm 9, he's 12. We're at the edge of the age where our differences start to disappear and age doesn't seem to matter anymore. Although I've always been the one he wants to play with and be around. His thin bones and gaunt face make him look taller than he is, like he's a thin stick that's been cut from a tree himself. Neither of us can ever eat enough, always hungry, even back then. But I go through stages where I grow a little pot belly, my arms, tanned and freckled by the summer sun, gain a layer of baby fat chub. Adrian gathers the top of the sticks together, splays their other ends out to make a cone structure that we could fit in. I wrap the twine we took from Uncle Jim's garage around the top. You've got to make an infinity sign or they'll all fall apart, Adrian says. We switch. I hold the sticks and he holds the twine and shows me how to wrap it, up and down and around. The sun's hot on my black t-shirt, Mickey Mouse printed on the front, wagging his finger. The shirt used to be Adrian's. Most of my clothes were Adrian's, and my parents don't notice that I faded into Adrian's family as if that's where I belong. Later, I'll think that maybe they just didn't understand what goes into making kids, raising them. I live as proof of their love, but proof doesn't feel. Go get some rocks, Paul. I kick around at the ground covered in long, dried grass. Every spring, it looks like Adrian's backyard might go green. Shoots appear through the dead grass of last year, but it always dies off again before summer even comes. I gather 2, 3 rocks and bring them to Adrian. He lines them against the bases of the sticks. This will keep them from collapsing inward. Are we going to cover it with leaves, I ask, to make walls like a real house? That's a good idea. And we're off collecting leaves. We need a way to attach them, so I run up to the house where Aunt Dot is making us peanut butter sandwiches. We need glue, I announce. She's cutting the crust off of Adrian's PB&J. I can tell she remembered no jam in mine. And what for, Paul? We're making a city. A city? Yes, a real city. And Adrian says we'll make it so it glows and lights up just like in the game. The game? The lighted city. We've been playing the lighted city for years. Out of all of our games, it's had the most staying power. The image of the glowing skyscrapers and houses and a village for us to call our own. Some games just do that, reveal things about who you are and who you want to be. The game has existed as long as we've played together, but it's twisted and evolved over time. Out there is a city that is waiting for us, both Adrian and me, and we know the place is perfect. Adrian imagines a place with no parents. I imagine a place where we are in charge and worshipped. Adrian imagines a place where we can be together. I imagine a place so beautiful it hurts when you look at it. The game always starts the same. We are walking in the forest and we hear something call to us. The leaves hissing in the wind are carrying a message. First, they speak to me. Adrian does the voice. Paul, we need you. Paul, we don't know what to do. Our people are dying. They are cold and hungry, Paul. Only you can save us. Adrian is with me because he's always with me when I play. When I'm alone at home, I draw, I sort my stuffed animals, and I think about the next time I'll play with Adrian. Any ideas I have, I save up for him. That's the way he likes it. Do you hear that? I ask Adrian, who is no longer the voices of the people of the lighted city. He is himself again. What is it? People, I say. I think they're in trouble this way. We cut through the forest. Adrian follows close behind me as we go deeper and deeper. Wait, he says. I think I hear it too. Now I become the voices. Adrian, it's you and Paul we need. You are always destined to rule us. We need you to bring the light back to the lighted city. Please save us. Adrian and I look at each other, ourselves again, and we start to run through the forest. As we run, the trees beside us burst into flames at the tips of their branches, lighting our way. The path ahead gets darker and colder, but our very beings bring the warmth and light. We come to a clearing, lit by a circle of trees that hold flames. The fire doesn't burn the trees, though. It doesn't work that way. Look, Adrian says, and he touches the tip of a branch, and the fire doesn't burn him. It cannot because he is its creator. Adrian, I say, because what is beyond the clearing is amazing. There are skyscrapers made of glass and twisted tree limbs and branches, the dark windows slowly lighting up as our presence fills the clearing. Tiny huts, just big enough to house a person or two, lead to where the skyscrapers are, and in front of each house, a fire lights. People begin to come out of the houses, and the sticks they hold emit light from their tips as soon as they walk toward us. We're saved, they exclaim, and warm their hands at the front yard fires. Adrian takes a backpack off and pulls out bags of rice, lentils, chickens, vegetables, all food we've stolen from the dinner table. The townspeople come and take the food, share it out amongst themselves, and begin to cook and feast. Music starts to play in celebration. What is this place? Adrian says to a boy closest to him. Don't you know, Your Majesty? The boy says, You're home. You've reached the lighted city. And it's true, we're the king and queen, the way it was always meant to be. Adrian takes my hand and we kiss. At the beginning, that's how the game ends. Now, for a long time, I didn't even let myself think the name Adrian. Everything that happened with the lighted city was only what happened to me, or the day everything happened. I hid all my bad experiences in a chest where they wouldn't be able to touch me. Any complicated feelings I felt, they went in there too. By keeping them tight away, I could continue to live. That was also something that felt hard for me. Sometimes it still feels hard. But everything always came out in dreams, especially once I moved to Toronto. And then in 2016, things got worse the way they need to before they get better. That was when things started to change, when I started to really look at those things in the chest and wonder if I had any hope of becoming a person who felt at peace. Dr. Johnson recommended I try writing everything down to see if I can make sense of it all. Selena, she prefers, to see if I can be more honest with writing than I am in our sessions together. Not it. I have to stop doing that. I need to call things what they were: the lighted city, Adrian, everything that happened in 2016 when I was finally close to losing myself. The notebook I pick is black leather. When it arrives at the door, I peel open the cardboard and hold it in my hands. It suits the way I feel about my memories, I suppose. I open it and the spine creaks. On the first page, I write instructions for myself. You will talk about 2016. You will talk about the lighted city. You will be brave and truthful. You will get to the bottom of what happened. I put a piece of masking tape on the cover, and then I write on it in black permanent marker how it happened, because I realize that's what I want to figure out. Not just what happened, though that's important too. I don't always feel I can trust my memories. In some places, there are gaps, or things begin to blur and look different. And then I look at the cover, even it blurs and changes. How could it have happened? Sometimes it feels like I've been working so hard for the past 9 years, and yet I still end up trying the next thing that promises to make me feel in control of my life. But I want to live, or at least I want to try to want to live. So that's something, I guess. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess. Our second reader tonight is Kern Carter. Kern Carter is an author, filmmaker, and community builder based in Toronto. He is the author of 2 self-published novels, as well as the young adult novel Boys and Girls Screaming, and his writing has been featured in Forbes, the New York Times, Global Citizen, Elle Magazine, and Fatherly.com. Kern's most recent YA novel, And Then There Was Us, was released last month with Penguin Random House Canada. It has been called a thought-provoking and emotional novel that sensitively explores childhood trauma and complicated family relationships. Welcome, Kern.
That's okay. I was waiting for him to come up, but I didn't want to call him. This is good. This is good. Yeah. I'm good. I could do without the mic if we needed to. We're good. So, hi. How's everybody doing? So, I'm actually going to read a piece that I just wrote this morning first, because I feel like we should do that. And then I'll read a piece from my novel that just came out. But this is going to be more interesting, so we'll see. Or I shouldn't say that. I never said that. This is interesting too. My publisher's not here, so don't worry. Okay, let's go. So I have a newsletter. I put out something every Sunday. This Sunday, the name of the newsletter is Writers Are Superstars. It's just like giving writers confidence, basically, and we kind of connect publishing to pop culture. So I use all these pop culture references to talk about writing and publishing. But this morning, I got a little bit more deep. So this one's called Should We Decenter the American Gaze? One day, I showed my class a video. These are postgraduate college students, all of them international, and none of them have been in Canada for more than a year. In this video, stick figures were used to tell a super short, inspirational story. After the video was done, I asked the class what they thought, and they all gave me thoughtful answers that related to the video's themes. Then I showed them the comments. Because the stick figures were black and white, much of the conversation in the comments were dominated by racial assumptions. None of my students picked up on those assumptions and were shocked that anyone would even come to that conclusion. We'll come back to that point in a second. My first introduction to America was through hip hop. Snoop told me what it was like to be from California. Biggie and Nas told me what it was like to live in New York. I knew about a Philly cheesesteak years before I even set foot in Philadelphia. By the time I was in high school, TV and movies meant I knew as much about American history as I did about Canadian history. I cheered for American sports teams, read American authors, listened to American music. All the culture I consumed was through the lens of the US. More currently, I'm watching Kendrick Lamar and Drake tear each other apart, all in the name of what? Hip hop? Not only am I watching it, but initially I was enjoying them tearing each other apart. I laughed at some of the demeaning lyrics. I literally look forward to how disrespectful the other could get. But why? None of that even aligns with my value systems. But I was raised on getting excited about rap beef. Seeing 50 Cent rip apart Ja Rule was entertainment for me. The rap battle culture has been ingrained in me since childhood. Now, as an adult, going through my own self reflection, my own changes, my own realizations, I notice now how much of a struggle it is to recognize culture outside of the American gaze. When I watched that video I showed my students, I knew exactly what the comments would be before I even read a single one. I knew that despite the creator's best intentions, he made one stick character white and the other black. The gaze immediately tells you that no matter what the video is about, it is racial. But I wonder, would I have recognized the racial undertone so vividly if it wasn't for the American gaze? Or would I have reacted like my students and simply observed the intended themes of the video? I take this concept one step further. What has this gaze done to my writing? When I am creating these stories, building these worlds, establishing new characters, am I doing it from a space of unbound freedom, or are my stories somehow reflective of this gaze? I have found myself fighting against the validity of this for years. I intentionally leave race out of my novels, meaning even though characters are Black, the stories have nothing to do with their Blackness. With my most recent novel, this good one, I had a discussion with my publisher about what it meant having a Black girl on the cover. I absolutely love the cover of my novel, but I didn't want readers, American readers particularly, to feel like picking up my novel was some kind of revolutionary act. That reading a novel with a Black girl on the cover made some kind of statement about their beliefs, about their politics, about their existence in general. I just want people to give this book a chance, especially since the story has absolutely nothing to do with racial tensions. But race is just one type of American gaze. I look at entertainment, the songs that blow up, the movies we call classics, the people I look up to. I think about all the books I've read. All of my favorite authors are American. But what if there was no center? What if I grew up reading Russian novels and watching African movies and listening to Hispanic music? What if early on in life I was made to understand Middle Eastern politics and exposed to Nordic folk tales? As writers, our output is far more dependent on our input than we'd like to admit. What we consume actively and subconsciously finds its way into our stories. We're now in a time where we're able to choose our own center. It still takes work, but access to culture isn't predetermined by your geography anymore. And as we search for stories to tell, stories that fill our souls and hopefully touch others' hearts, we should seriously consider finding a different center from a different center and creating from a different gaze. Not because the American gaze is bad, it's just been dominant. And maybe if we shift, we'll find new ways to understand our existence and express that understanding through our writing. Okay, that's part one. Now let's get to this beautiful novel that I love more than anything. Okay, so this is called And Then There Was Us. And I'm wondering if there are any trigger warnings, but I'll just give some because like a cry book. Like if you read this book, you're probably gonna cry. So there's emotional trigger warning somewhere in here. So if you're a Cancer like me, like be ready. You might feel something. But I chose a passage that's not too bad. So no tears, don't worry about it. This is actually the very beginning of the novel, and it's essentially this is a story about forgiveness. It's about a teenage girl who has been separated from her abusive mother for about 5 years. And when her mother tries to come back into her life, her mother passes away. And when her mother passes away, the daughter starts lucid dreaming about her mother. And through these lucid dreams, she tries to forgive the past abuse. So this is right at the beginning when you'll see what happens, but this is right from the very beginning for the most part. The main character's name is Koi. Today is the day I've been expecting for 4 years, 7 months, and 24 days. I put my hand over my heart to catch it from sinking and let the phone ring out while staring at the screen. Mommy? Why does my screen say mommy? There's no way that I'm ready to hear her voice. No way that I'm ready to listen to what she has to say. My dad is moving stuff into storage today, so it's just me, sitting in my room with my headphones on, drawing on my iPad. My phone is on the floor beside me, still lit from the missed call. I'm watching to see if there's any text notification, one of those long essay type messages I'd have to scroll through to read her explanation to where she was when I graduated middle school, or what she was doing when I got my driver's license, or why she wasn't there to scream at me when I smoked weed for the first time, got my nose pierced, and dyed my hair blonde. Side note, one summer, my daughter, so I actually have my daughter is 21 now, but when she was 16, she went to her cousin's house for the summer and came back with blonde hair, a nose ring, and drinking alcohol for the first time. So these are real things. Horrible. I don't know why. Okay, so she's blonde now. I don't know why I'm acting like this. I told myself a million times that I'm over this whole having a mom thing, and I really am. Never mind that her number is still saved as mommy in my phone, and seeing that word splashed across my screen triggers all this bullshit I spent years dealing with. She calls again, mommy, and it's like the vibrations from the phone is echoing through my body. I'm staring at the red cancel icon, knowing what I should do, but I lower my headphones, and swipe green to answer. Hi. My first words, our first words, since not long after I got my period. I put my iPhone to my ear and cover my other ear with my finger to keep it all in. Even the walls in my room feel like intruders. So even though I'm home alone, when I say hi, it comes out just above a whisper. Hello, Koi. Her voice sounds restrained, almost calm, and still has the melodic tone I remember so well. I wait for what's next. What words are going to come out of her mouth? How are you? Good. You sound good. Thanks. Are you busy? No. What are you doing? Nothing. My mother was never comfortable with silence. I can still hear 50 Cent and Jay-Z and Barris Hemin and Buju Banton blaring all times of the day and night. The only thing louder than the music was her screaming at me to do some chore or yelling at her boyfriend over the phone. It was either that or her laughing at one of the housewives shows, usually Atlanta, like she had the same condition as a Joker, and getting so into it that she'd jump up on the couch and turn the volume all the way up. Nothing, she repeats. I don't respond. I really miss you, Koi. Okay. Okay. That's it. What do you want me to say? You can start by saying you miss me too. I remove the phone from my ear, press end, put it on silent, and put my headphones back in. But I can't hear the music. The only sound in my head is my mom's voice on repeat like a catchy pop song. Except this song isn't one I want to hear. You sound good. Are you busy? What are you doing? I really miss you. I stuff my face in my pillow and scream till my ribs hurt. Then I stop and do it again. You can start by saying you miss me too. That was a joke, right? It had to be. I don't remember my mom having any sense of humor, but right there is Dave Chappelle level comedy. Maybe that's why part of me feels like bursting out into a belly laugh. My eyes are closed so tight I can feel the pressure on my temples. I just spoke to my mother. It's hours after the call when I finally hear the front of our apartment unlock, and I feel a wave of relief. Normally, I just wait for my dad to knock on my bedroom door and tell me he's home. He always stands in the doorway for a few seconds to ask what I'm doing before heading into the bathroom or starting dinner. This time, I rush out of my room and meet him in the hallway while he's taking off his boots. My mom called. My dad chuckles like he thinks I'm not serious, but when he sees the look on my face, he knows this is real. What? When? A little while ago. I'm always looking up when talking to my dad. Even when his boots are off, he's still tall enough that I can see the bottom of his chin. Did you answer? Yeah. What did she say? I shrug my shoulders and follow my dad into the kitchen. He turns on the tap and uses the dish soap to wash his hands. She didn't say anything really. I hung up on her. We both burst out laughing. It's our favorite thing to do together. But I know my dad won't let me get away with without giving him more info. So you hung up on her? Yep. Why? This should be an easy answer. I can name at least a dozen reasons off the top of my head. My dad's leaning up against the sink, waiting for me to say something. I'm searching through my mind, thinking of which of those reasons is the most obvious. Which one makes me hate her the most? The necklace? My dad's still waiting. I'm still searching. My sister. Now my smile is gone. 1,699 days. I can't catch my breath. My dad's already pouring a glass of water from the fridge. I'm hunched over with my eyes closed, trying my best to focus on inhaling long, deep through my nose and exhaling through my mouth. Just breathe, Corey. You're okay. Just breathe. My dad says this as he's rubbing my back. Tears are streaming down my face, faster with each memory. I'm trying to wipe them away as quickly as they're flowing. I don't cry. Not for her. Not ever. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's good. Thanks so much, Kern. We're gonna take a 10-minute break. So refresh your beverages, buy some books, say hi to some authors. We'll see you back in your seats in 10 minutes.
Because I was thinking, yeah, so we'll have to move it down. because the thing is that this is not going to get picked up by this unless I do. But I didn't really want to. So we could conceivably like tilt it for that. Like I could talk like that. No, that's weird. No, I don't think another mic because it's only one piece, and I've done it before. Yeah, I've done it before where I've just like moved it and then I moved it back up. Yeah. 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 So that's just. Yeah. Right. Let's raise it a bit, and then. The wood grain, that is my brain. That is wood grain. I think I just broke my nail. I did actually. That's hilarious. That's a chippy one. To play kind of nice. Yeah. And the room will be quiet. So like yeah. Yeah. Bass notes at the edge of a high, like yeah. Yeah. I could also just like hold it like this. Maybe, possibly, with my broken nails. Yeah. Kumbaya, mon Dieu? Or is it a different one? Because Dieu is God, so. No, I literally just broke them on the wood right now. Yeah, Brent and I were testing, and mm, am I not?
to knock over your setup here. No.
Shimmy this sideways.
Okay.
This doesn't have to.
Okay, Ellen, there we go. Okay, hi everyone. We are ready to get started with our second half here. Our third reader tonight is Ellen Chang Richardson. Ellen is an award-winning poet. Ellen's got some fans in the house. Is an award-winning poet based in Ottawa. Their work has appeared in Augur, The Ex-Puritan, Grain, Plenitude, Watch Your Head, Writers and Artists Respond to the Climate Crisis, The Spirits Have Nothing to Do with This, New Chinese Canadian Fiction, and more. Ellen is also the co-founder of the Riverbed Reading Series and an editor for Rue Magazine. Their debut poetry collection, Blood Belies, is out now with Woolsack and Wynne. It's described as an arresting debut that touches on race, history, injury, and belonging, moving the reader through different time periods and ultimately asking what it means to carry scars, to persevere, and to hope. Welcome, Ellen.
Thank you, Anuja. That was not the bio I gave you. I was like, Anuja kept reading, and I was like, I didn't, huh. Thank you. That was lovely. Thank you all so much. I'm really excited to be here. So because we have a theme of play this year, or this month, I thought I'd select a few pieces from my collection that have that in mind. So we're gonna go on like this playful poetic journey. My publisher is here, so this is exciting. Hi, Noelle. So in terms of content warning and safe spaces, first and foremost, I have had 8 concussions, and I live with post-concussion syndrome. And so a lot of the pieces kind of play on what it is and what it's like to live with post-concussion syndrome, persistent post-concussion syndrome that like manifests itself in flares, where like your whole brain just kind of, you know. The collection itself also investigates and excavates anti-Asian racism in Canada. So there's going to be a few words that are very uncomfortable that I experienced throughout my entire life. What else is there? A little bit of alcohol content. Yeah. So if there is anything that you're uncomfortable with, I totally get it, and you are welcome to take a breather. So I'm going to start with the poem that opens up the collection. It's called Bass Notes Hit the Edge of a High, and it's a multi-part glitch that runs undercurrent to the collection of poetry. It started off as a sound ekphrasis, which is poetry about art, inspired by Bad Bad Not Good's triple discography of BBNG, BBNG 2, and 3. And then it turned into, in editing phases, I was like, oh, this is what it feels like when I have a post-concussion flare-up. So this is Bass Notes Hit the Edge of a High. Like, City Girls 3. This poem is a contrapuntal, which is a really fun and very difficult poetic form where you have 2 columns and the poem can be read one way, another way, or this way. City Girls 3. We milk black tea, daub ourselves in rye, sip on honey as we sin our lips, encase cosmos and hide wide open. We sip on milk, honey, black tea, as we daub sin on our lips, encase ourselves in cosmos, wry and hide wide open. Between branches, I want to sit where living incites no violence, where you, where I exist as the leaves of my Zamioculcas do. I want to breathe, not crumble beneath our burdens, where controlled burns sustain, not destroy. I want to swim in oceans, in lakes, in rivers devoid of trash, where choking hazards are just carnal fantasy. I want to dance, but not on the bones of migrants. Visit the shades of my ancestors in spaces between pine and sky. I want to spin and spin and spin and spin and spin and spin and twist until time rewinds. Oh, okay, let's try that again. It's a very chill space, guys. I'm playing with the loop pedal. 1993, concussion number 1. 1997, concussion number 2. Concussion number 3. Concussion number 4. 1993, concussion number 1. 1997, concussion number 2. Concussion number 5. Concussion number 4. 2017, concussion number 1. Concussion number 6. 1997, 2021, concussion number 2. Concussion number 7. Concussion number 3. 2023, concussion number 8. 1993, concussion number 1. Concussion number 6. 1997, 2021, concussion number 2. Concussion number 7. Concussion number 3. 2023, Rorschach number 8. Filaments, 1993. Float, concussion number 1. Past my periphery. Is it fragment, figment, or is it brain injury? 8. Brain injury, retaining number 8. These filaments. 1993. Flit, concussion number 1. Past my right eye. Is it fruit fly or is it brain injury 6? Brain injury, brain injury, returning to tell me to rest. Tell me my cortex has crashed. 1997, 2021. Against both sides of its bony shell. Precious fluids, now sloshing, ink. Like sea urchins. 1993. Lost. Concussion number 1. Concussion number 6. On dry. 1997. Land. Concussion number 2. Concussions. Concussions. They're not fun. Has anyone else had concussions here? Yeah, see? Yeah. And no one talks about it until like recently, right? People were always like, you'll be fine. And you were kind of like, no, maybe, but I don't know. So this next poem is Courtyard Acupuncture, and it's a bit of a love poem to lost memory, kind of like fragmented memory. In flame, bass notes hang like dust, their feathered edges torn in wind. goes jasmine-scented wax, flies melting into beads as mosquito powder brushes against my veins. Finger tips, bright red dew. Linger briefly, just as antique petals do, against my skin. This last piece is called Emphasis, a lexicon of language, and I will openly, happily say that it's a Liz Howard thing. She was like, you have these poems, these like words inside of your collection, and some of them are very like rough and tough and like, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to create a new? Why don't you write a new poem? And I was like, okay, I'll write a glossary poem. So if you pick up a copy of my book, you'll see that throughout the collection there are words that are bolded, and those words form this lexicon of language. Chink. Barbed arrow steals a piece of you, soars past your right ear, and so you attempt to reclaim it, take the edge off its bite. Outside, palms pressed against panes of tempered glass. Outsider, stamped across small foreheads, chests. Outshift, invisible pain, distilled. Acclamation, a new start, a new way to reorient, to reinvent. Delusion. It's okay what they say, they don't mean. This is nothing, they don't mean. It's okay, the words they say. It's okay, this is nothing. They don't mean what they say. It's okay, they don't mean the words they say. Reprieve. A stranger on the phone mistakes you for small sound suburban white, and you allow the mistake to take form. Brain controls thought, controls body, controls regulation, takes toll on memory. Flare. Relatum runs ragged, so I rummage for roots beneath the surface of a remedial star. Heritage. A small child stands before an epitaph in the center of a city. Small hands extend, trace marble, cold, carved, infinite. Language. Imprint. Your teeth clamp around the darkest part of your skin and take a bite. Draw blood, take a minute, take another, draw breath, in, out, in and out, and in and out, and out, and in and out, and in and out, and in and in and in. Surge through your nose as you slowly release one aeonic gasp at a time. Thanks. So I'm like, I'm not taking
Thanks, Ellen. I feel like I need a minute to just sort of process that. That was incredible. Okay, our final reader tonight is Brent Van Staldenen. Brent is an award-winning novelist and short story writer. He's the author of the novels Boy, Nothing But Life, and Saints Unexpected, as well as the short story collection Cut Road. Brent also hosts Rejected Central, a podcast exploring the history, humor, and pain of rejection, and also teaches creative writing to university students. His most recent work is Unthinkable, out now with At Bay Press. Unthinkable is a literary thriller described as an intelligent and propulsive chase through a harrowed land and a must-read for the smart thriller reader. Brent lives right here in Hamilton. Welcome, Brent.
That was awesome. Thank you, Alan. That was really something. We had to do the tech for it. And so I was concerned about making sure that the microphone, well, it did feedback in the end. It'll be interesting to go online because we're streaming tonight, by the way. It'll be interesting to hear how that sounds. I'm really curious about it. And so I was so focused on the tech, and I forgot about the tech while she was up here, which is really, really cool. So well done. Thank you for that. And thank you, Anuja, for that incredible introduction. Thank you. And thank everybody for being here. Thank you for donating to LitLive. I'm on the committee. This is a really cool thing, and it's really, really great that everybody's here, so thank you. So The Unthinkable is a novel about extremes. And, oh, there we go. I got my own tech support. We work together, you know. Two things have happened that set up the novel, that provide this setting. One, there's been dirty bomb terrorist attacks all up and down the western coast of North America. The dirty bombs are one of those things that kind of keeps me up at night, and so I threw it in a novel because it's really terrifying. But nature doesn't care what people do. Nature will nature. And so in the middle of all of that, the big one happens. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the phenomenon of the big one. Mostly they talk about the big one happening in California, sort of San Francisco sliding off into the sea and that kind of thing. But in actual fact, the big one would happen all along the length of the Cascade, I'm going to get this right, wrong probably, but Cascadia subduction zone, which from Alaska all the way down to the very tip of Chile, there are tectonic plates, i.e. parts of the world, where they connect. And so if the big one happens, it's probably not just going to make California slide into the sea. It's going to do a lot more. So The Unthinkable is the confluence of those two things. So first there's the attacks, and in the middle of all that chaos, the unthinkable happens. And the big one turns out to be many, many big ones, and earthquakes, tsunamis, and the West Coast is savaged. And in the middle of all that, because nature doesn't really care what we do, and I love to put my characters through chaos, my main character's name is Lori Martins, and she is a veteran of many wars. She's a medic. She's a special forces medic, and she's done some really, really dark things. And she has fled to a tiny little inlet on Vancouver Island called Barren Arm, where a number of people have set up a community. They've purchased old barges and they've built houseboats out of those barges, and they have gone to this very secluded and quiet place. And so this is where she's living when the unthinkable, which is the name I gave for all of that chaos, and is also the title of the novel. So she's trying to live a quiet life in Barren Arm. She's made a friend. Now, my trigger warning for tonight would be around PTSD. And one of the things that I explore in my writing, I'm a veteran, is the idea of PTSD, the things that soldiers and airmen and sailors carry back from the conflicts that they are a part of. And so if PTSD is something that triggers you, just be aware that the whole novel is about Lori's attempt to get away from all of the horrible things that she's done and seen and been through. And if anybody who knows PTSD knows, there's no clean way to do that. And so it's very messy. She's very messy. And so that's my trigger warning for tonight. Lori is a very conflicted, very troubled character. She's made a friend. Neil. And in the middle of all this chaos, Neil is the only person she's ever trusted, and she discovers him dead, and he's been murdered. She knows he's been murdered, but she doesn't know why. Now, I'll tease up a little bit about the rest of the novel. The reason he was murdered, ancient. Oh, yeah. It's all in the back of the book. It's all in the cover copy. Ancient conspiracies, lots of mayhem. She doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that she discovered him dead. He's been murdered. He's her only friend and lover, and she has to figure out why. So the novel is really a murder mystery about why Neil was killed. Although not really. There's much more to it. No more spoilers. All right, let me see if I got through all my notes here. So as I said, Laurie doesn't know any of this. She's just trying to honor Neil's final wishes. He left things to her to do, and that's all she really knows at this point, that she wants to honor those final wishes. So, reduced to this: 5.5 pounds of what most people call ash, but is in fact a coarse powder, largely composed of pulverized bone. Or, according to the greasy funeral director, approximately 1 cubic inch for every pound of deceased loved one, contained within a box measuring 8 by 6 by 4 inches with some room to spare. Neil's crushed bones were in that box. I'd found him almost 3 weeks before, face down in his bed, a tiny and almost bloodless hole at the base of his skull. No sign of a struggle, just the rank odor of shit filling the room. In that final, infuriating indignity, his bowels had voided themselves at the moment of his death. It had taken every ounce of my will to keep myself from cleaning him up before the Mounties arrived to investigate. The funeral director, an obese man in dirty, stretched jeans and a t-shirt that might once have been black, tucked the urn under his arm and held out a hand. There were dark smudges and lines on his sweaty palm, and I was distracted for an instant by who that ash might have been before bringing myself back to the present. The fucker wanted more money. We had a deal, I said. The funeral director shrugged. Small bits of something weightless drifted down from his shirt. Someone, perhaps. Maybe your loved one weighed more than you said he did, he said. Maybe? Maybe I needed to use more fuel. I paid up front. Everything costs more these days. More than I could afford given the state of things, but Neil had insisted. His last will and testament, kept in a shoebox above his stove, had contained the legalese terminology for what needed to be done with his remains and his estate, all left to me, such as it was. But the accompanying note, brief and written in his halting hand, had sounded more like him. Burn my sorry ass, Laurie, and bring me back to bear an arm, N. So I had. And now I was being gouged for honoring that final request. Give me the urn, you criminal, I said. I could smell that fat, entrepreneurial bastard. Like the rest of us, without electricity to power the machines that had formerly helped define our cleanliness, he now did his clothes by hand, but his rankness was a unique mix of sweat and urine and unwashed ass. With the slightest whiff of cologne, no doubt a tiny rationed ritual from his former life. In the confines of the chapel, the effect was nauseating. He smirked and turned away. Come back when you're ready to pay, Missy. I'll keep your boyfriend safe. Missy? Fuck no. I gritted and spoke between my teeth. Wait. He faced me again with a self-satisfied smile. He thought he had won the transaction. You arrogant prick, I thought, moving towards him. You have no idea what's about to happen. The thing about arrogance is that it blinds us to everything most important. And for him, what should have been most important in that moment was that I, all 6 feet of me, was quicker and stronger than he was. Why are people so bad at assessing others? What possessed an overweight extortionist to imagine that he had leverage in this situation? In a blink, I had him pinned against the stainless face of his own crematory, my thumb and index finger digging into his mandibular angles. I was a combat medic for 7 years and a special ops operator for a decade after that, so I had skills that went beyond first aid. You can change a person's chemistry with the right pressure. He was experiencing two things. First, the pain. His eyes went wide and his mouth carped open and closed. His limbs twitched, useless from the sheer volume of agony he was experiencing. Second, the fear. He had no idea what was happening or where he was or what would happen next, and there's nothing more frightening than removing all sense of certainty. In a word, it felt like the end. You can keep your waterboarding and sleep deprivation. I broke them all by removing every touchstone of their existence. With my free hand, I took the urn from under his arm. Should I kill you? I whispered into his ear, or just turn you into a vegetable? I leaned in even closer. Remember me. I dug deeper, and his nervous system stuttered, forcing him to collapse. On the ground, he tried to reach up to his jaw where the pain was for comfort, but his arms wouldn't respond. The sudden extra pressure I had applied had kept his nerves firing uncontrollably. He wouldn't move for a while. I walked out of the funeral home chapel through the side door. It banged hard against its frame, twisted out of true by the unthinkable's impossible physics. The home stucco walls were cracked and sagging, almost leaning into the street. Most of Port Chastity's buildings bore similar scars, patched together with precious building supplies and shored up with saplings from the bush after the lumber ran out. The ones that had remained standing, that was. The rest had fallen as hard as the ground did when the earth heaved. Outside in the blinding June sun, adrenaline coursed through me and I began to tremble. I saw every throat I'd ever abused and choked, and how easy it became. The killing, too, when necessary. Rote, we called it, when things got so bad on deployment that we had to let every feeling go. We went rote to accomplish the unimaginable. Went rote when we saw those above us doing what we knew to be irredeemable. For me, there was no Hippocratic oath, and the Geneva Convention assumed a kind of honor that had long been absent in war. My first, under a half-collapsed mosque in Kabul 20 years before, was some fanatical fucker who made an art of blowing our troops to shreds, yet who knew remarkably little. Couldn't detain him, couldn't send him back out. How silent the end can be without breath. I turned my face towards the sky, closed my eyes, and breathed long and slow, filling my bloodstream with extra oxygen. I relaxed my muscles one area at a time: toes, legs, hips, core, shoulders, neck, face. Yet my hands still shook. "Do it again, soldier," said a voice in my mind, in the rough Glaswegian brogue of my first self-defense instructor. "Until you've got your control back, until you can function." And slowly, my body and mind regained their equilibrium, and my thoughts opened up, cast back to the pathetic figure I had just left on that tiled crematory floor. Damn, I thought. Damn, damn, damn. It had been a long time since I had felt myself move like that, yet the violence returned on demand, as always. There were times I truly believed that I'd buried that old medic, but her resurrection was perpetually nearby, as though I hadn't made the grave quite deep enough. Thank you.
Oh, too high, too high. I feel like that's hard. No, it's okay. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Brent.
You're welcome.
What's her name? Lori? The main. Lori's a badass. Like she's terrifying, but I like her. I like her. That brings us to the end of our readers for tonight. So thank you to all our readers tonight. Thank you to all of you for coming out to play at tonight's reading. We will be back for the last Lit Live of the season on Sunday, June 2nd. Hope to see you all with us again. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram or visit our website, litlivereadings.com, to stay up to date. Thank you to everyone who has donated to help keep us going. And thank you and good night.